So I thought I should do a little video on why I've decided to start this channel. And I suppose the first thing to talk about is what is trail running. It's a popular sport, but nowhere near as popular as road running or trail running. Road running, it's more about setting personal bests, the pace, races. And it's much more accessible, I guess, in terms of you can just put a pair of shoes on and walk out the door. That gets you into it, which I suppose is why it's so popular. We've seen the rise of park run has made road running much more popular recently. And also, Couch to 5K. You just saw two trail runners run past them. We're on a trail. They're usually bridleways or access tracks, forestry trails. Generally relatively easy angled terrain. Some of the main differences between sort of trail running and trail running are the terrain. You do follow some public footpaths and trails and even some sections of road, but there'll always be an extremely steep climb somewhere. Sometimes you're even falling on your hands and knees, and then you've got what's underfoot. You've got rocks, you've got heather, grass, mud, bogs. It's extremely difficult to run on that terrain sometimes. It can be quite technical, and it can be a huge slog as well. That leads into one of the major benefits for me of trail running over road running is that with that harsh terrain comes the beauty. And so you compare that to road running with pounding on tarmac, and it just doesn't compare really. Trail races aren't typically marked, the courses. There'll be a series of checkpoints, and it's up to you which way you go, as long as you hit those checkpoints. So you need to be good at navigation, and also picking the right line can be the difference between winning or losing. It's like local knowledge, or being able to read a map and pick a line that someone else might not have picked. It's another element to it that you don't get in road or trail running. There are lots of channels dedicated to road running, some really good channels. Crown My Run is probably my favourite. Very entertaining, seeing the lads on that taking each other's PBs on and racing each other. The commentary is quite funny as well. Nick Bester, Light It Up, middle-aged running man, Ted Off-Road. Lots of videos about road running, but none really about trail running. And then obviously you've got Olga's videos, which are a great historical record, and she tries to get as many runners in those, including quite a bit of running from the third person perspective. But there's nothing from the first person perspective that I've seen anyway, and I think there's a bit of a gap here. Not only to showcase trail running, but also to document my journey, the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the races, the successes, the failures, also to share any tips in terms of training, what works well, what doesn't, reviews on gear, the different types of shoes. That can make a huge difference in races, and it's always the big question, would you take 2 or 3 pairs to a fair race? Do I want shoes that are good on rock? Do I want shoes that have got good lugs on the muddy stuff? Or do I want something that's cushioned or minimalist? Yeah, they've got that wrong a few times. One of the major differences between trail running and road running and trail running, and just showcases how serious it is that there's a mandatory kit list for trail running, which I've never seen in a road race, not in a trail race either. There's often recommendations, but in trail running there is a mandatory kit list. Full waterproofs with tape seams, full body cover, a woolly hat, although probably something a little bit more lightweight than what I'm wearing today, gloves, a whistle, compass and a map, ideally a map covering the area that you're running in, and knowledge of how to use the compass as well, and how to read the map. And some emergency food as well. It's always puzzled me why there's no requirement for water. I suppose usually there's plenty of water up on the fells. So the videos will be mostly shot from the first person perspective. So I'm using a Insta360 Go 3S, which is a tiny camera, can be mounted to a cap mount or clipped onto your running vest. So this video really will be the first test of that, and you'll see later on what that footage comes out like, and it'll be more about learning a few lessons about what works well, what doesn't. So that's the what, the why and the how. So I should give a bit of history about how I got into trail running. So I'm a rock climber predominantly, well was, and to climb better it's all about power to weight ratio as well as technique and mental attitude. And power to weight, the easiest thing to do is to lose weight, so I wanted to do that after a particularly heavy Christmas. So I decided to take up running, and I thought, well, how can I keep myself motivated to keep running? So I thought if I book some running races in, I'll have something to train towards. And the first race that came up that was local to me was the Bleasdale Circle Fell Race. And not knowing what a fell race was, I just assumed that fell meant hill, and hill was off-road, so I just thought it was like a trail run or something like that. Yeah, had a rude awakening when I went up the side of Paddy's Pole, First Night Fell, up the absolute steepest part of it, and then across over to Parlick, and then down the steepest part of that. But yeah, I was just hooked straight away. Bleasdale Circle Fell Race is organised by Bowland Fell Runners, and I thought, well, a good way to maintain the habit of running would be to form those social connections. So I joined Bowland Fell Runners, and they run in orange and green, if you couldn't tell. So what's next? As I said, I'll be doing recording footage of races from the first person perspective. So the first one will be the Lee Mill Relays. We've got 4 teams competing in it, 2 men's teams and 2 women's teams. It starts off up a trail very similar to this, but then it gets very boggy, and some really steep sections, and yeah, you're not going to want to miss that video. It'll be pretty interesting. It's 10.7 kilometers and 340 meters of ascent. One of the things I love about the relays is the team atmosphere. It's okay if you have a bad day and sort of, let yourself down. You can forgive yourself for that and forget about it. But when you're running as part of a team, you just you feel like you need to dig a bit deeper, so you don't let anyone down. So there's a great sense of camaraderie, not just the runners, but also the rest of the club. The people that come to support. There'll be a base there. We'll have a huge gazebo. Be a team providing refreshments, hot and cold drinks, and an array of cakes. We certainly won't struggle with a lack of carbs that day. It's also a great social element as well. Sometimes you can go on a fair race and you might just be on your own, but sitting there in the pits, as it were, waiting for the other runners to come in and to go out. Yeah, you've got a good time to catch up and chat about your strategy and what shoes you're going to wear, or how was it for you. You're looking forward to it, you're nervous, that kind of thing. And also networking with other clubs as well. So yeah, I hope you'll tune in for that one. I think it'll be really interesting. Right, okay, I'm going to pick it up a bit now. Let's go down this steep, muddy, technical section. Yeah, I can feel it bouncing around quite a bit on my forehead. Maybe this Asics thermal hat isn't quite tight enough for it. I might have to get a cap. Maybe I can get one from Ellis Blonde. Then I won't look too out of place. I always think that people running in baseball caps, whether they're pointing forwards or backwards, I think they look daft in particularly in trail races. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one. But you do see lots of bagger caps, so maybe that's the solution. I do like these Innovate mud talons. They're nice and comfortable because they're wide toe box, and they've got a lot of cushioning, so you can really pound it downhill, and obviously got fantastic grip in the mud. But just the rubber compound in them I just find particularly bad on rock, wet or dry rock really, but particularly worse on wet. Whereas the rock lights, the G275s and the Ultra G320s, they use the graphite rubber, and that's as sticky as rock climbing shoes, and ultra hard wearing as well. So I don't know why they've not gone with that compound in these. It would make them formidable in all terrains. Perhaps they don't want them lasting forever. If they never wore out, they'd have no excuse to reel us in for another £150 pair of shoes. This year hasn't been kind to me. yeah, I've had injury after injury after injury, and I've just seen my fitness dropping back, tailing off, and you know, going from being competitive in my age category to getting, you know, destroyed. So I'm trying to listen to my body a bit more, reduce the intensity, build the mileage back up. Whoa. Anyway, it's enough waffling, nearly back to the van now. So yeah, this was just a short channel introduction and a bit of a test of the setup. So I think the footage came out okay, but as with anything, you know, with the production, presentation, editing, you know, there'll be improvements along the way. You know, this is all new to me, so hopefully it'll be a bit more polished in the future. So yeah, if you're interested in, you know, following along, please consider subscribing, and if you like the video, smash the like button, ring the bell, you know, all that stuff that makes my kids cringe and me. Yeah, okay, well, I hope to see you on the next one. Right, so another benefit of the Insta360 Go 3S, you know, I've been using the cap mount, or it's called the easy mount or something like that, to attach it, you know, first of all onto my running vest and then onto my hat, but you can use it, you know, anywhere really that you can clip it onto something, and it's magnetic, so you know, we can just adjust that. Got little in-car camera mount. So
well then, they're fantastic. One of the best bands on the scene for sure. The Doors.